But what's driving a lot of people insane is you got the committee up here cracking jokes in what's supposed to be a serious matter. And what I don't like about the committee, and it doesn't make sense to me, not only does it not make sense, I don't think it's right, they are penalizing this Ole Miss team for what's going on with their head coach. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you having a great week. Hope all of you having a great Thanksgiving. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. Before we even get going, let me know in the comment section, what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish? For me, it hasn't changed. You already know if you've been keeping up with the channel. It's a sweet potato casserole. I could eat a whole tray of that by myself, and shout out to my mom. She's making me my entirely separate one so I can take home. Can't go wrong with the ham or whatnot. And by the way, why have I been seeing all over social media recently everybody hating on turkey? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if your turkey is a little dry and it doesn't taste good, that's because you don't know how to cook it. You gotta fry the turkey, man. You gotta fry the turkey. Is it a little bit risky? Absolutely. But like they say, you gotta risk it to get the biscuit. But I would say sweet potato casserole is number 1, ham 2, and I gotta go with mashed potatoes 3, turkey 4. I already know what some people are saying. Matt, what about the mac and cheese? Hey, I like macaroni and cheese. I just think the ones I listed off before that, they're a little bit better. On the recent video, I was talking about how my favorite thing to get at Bojangles is a chicken biscuit, and I saw quite a bit of comments saying, yo, Matt, you gotta get the tailgate special. So I'm probably going to get that Saturday. So during all the reaction games on Saturday, I'm going to give you a food review on that, and yeah, it should be a good time. But getting back on track here, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm so appreciative of you guys, this entire community. They say you're supposed to spend Thanksgiving with your family. Well, you guys, this community, we are a family. Without being too corny and cringy, just really thankful for what we have here. Extremely thankful. Let's lock in, though, and let's get down to business. This is the one only topic we're going to be discussing. The CFP committee, they're embarrassing themselves. I thought after last week's rankings it couldn't get too much worse, but then this happened. And I'm not even just talking about the rankings themselves. I'm talking about when they explain the rankings, and every single time they open their mouth. For starters, you can't make this up. Reese Davis asked Hunter Yurachek to explain why they moved down Ole Miss to number 7 and bumped Oregon up to number 6. Yurachek proceeds to look into the camera and do the 6-7 reference and joke. I can't show you because it's copyrighted, but if you saw it, you saw it. I'm sure many of you saw my live reaction to the rankings. We post those Tuesday night as well. And at first, I was like, wait a minute. What? I didn't understand it. Why is Ole Miss dropping behind Oregon? Doesn't make any sense. Y'all know as well. I'm not high on this Oregon football team. I think they're good, but I don't think they should have jumped Ole Miss. May I remind some of y'all, Ole Miss beat Oklahoma. Both teams have one loss. When you go resume for resume, Oklahoma has a Ole Miss has a far better resume than Oregon. It's just head scratching, and for me personally, I think Ole Miss should be ranked ahead of Texas Tech, but we're not even arguing about that at this point because they're 2 spots away from 5. But then it hit me. I saw some of you commenting and whatnot. I was like, oh my goodness. And there is a lot of this speculation going around, and people were talking about this before the rankings even came out. What is the committee going to do if Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss? Are they going to bump him down in the rankings? Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's looking like they're taking that into account. I'm starting to believe, although we don't know this for certain, that with all this drama going on with Lane Kiffin, talking to LSU, Florida, and whatnot, this Ole Miss, I'm not going to say team, but this program kind of being a little bit discombobulated and whatnot. He's not all there. He may leave. So we got to get ready to drop these guys down. And that's what this ranking reflects. In the future, for example, let's say they beat Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl and Kiffin announces heading into the playoffs he's going to leave. If you had Ole Miss at 5 or 6, it'd be hard to justify you dropping them to around 9 or 10. But if you slowly but surely work them down, they started at 5, they were at 6, and now they're already at 7. Well, if you drop them from 7 to 9, nobody's really going to argue about it too much. You see what I'm saying? Because it's not a big drop-off. And that's what they're doing. They're going, okay, if Kiffin does leave, and a lot of people think he is going to, not me, but that's a different conversation for a different day, we got to get ready for it. And what I don't like about the committee, and it doesn't make sense to me, not only does it not make sense, I don't think it's right, they are penalizing this Ole Miss team for what's going on with their head coach. Let me give you a great example. Florida State, the Seminoles from 2023. Penalizing Florida State for not having their starting quarterback is a legit argument, and they should have did it, and they did do it. Congratulations to them, and I give them a ton of props for that. That Florida State team didn't even deserve to be, not just in the playoffs, but in the bowl game with Georgia. They were awful. Well, I say they were awful, kind of exaggerating a little bit. Their offense was awful. I mean, did you see who was throwing the ball? They literally didn't have a quarterback. You watching this video could have been better than what they had. Putting them in the playoff would have been a disaster. Thankfully, the committee, the 14 playoff committee, they didn't do that. But in this situation, it's something we've never seen before. They're penalizing a team that's not losing any players, no nothing. you're just losing your head coach. I know I say you're just losing your head coach like it's not a big deal, but you still got the guys going to the playoff that got you there, if that makes sense. If Trinidad Chambliss goes down with a season-ending injury, I understand dropping down Ole Miss. I do. But your head coach leaving, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. Do I think Ole Miss would be better without Lane Kiffin? Absolutely not. They'd probably be slightly worse. But at the end of the day, I don't care what play Kiffin draws up. He can't go out there and execute it. It comes down to the players. With all that bad stuff being said about the committee, let's talk about what everyone and their mama was clamoring about, Notre Dame and Miami. As where it stands right now, you're looking at it, Miami, they are, I'm putting air quotes around this, in the playoff field. But they're just holding that spot because the committee is assuming, or not the committee, but just whoever's making these graphics and whatnot, you're assuming since Miami is the highest ranked team, they're going to get the automatic bid in the ACC, but that's not going to happen. They're not going to win the ACC, and if they don't win the ACC, they can't get into the playoff unless some chaos ensues. In other terms, to dumb that down, I don't want to get all too nerdy and dive into this too much. Miami's on the outside looking in. You can ignore them actually being in this graphic because they're just a placeholder. What's everybody talking about though? Well, why do we even play the games? Notre Dame's 9-2, Miami's 9-2. Only if there was a magical way where we could have these teams play and find out who was better. Oh wait, they did play and Miami won. So why isn't Miami ranked ahead of Notre Dame? It's a fair question, it really is. But this is where I'm going to take up for the committee. They're getting this right. In my rankings, I got Notre Dame ranked ahead of Miami because I think they're the much better team. Here's what people don't understand. Everybody points to head-to-head, head-to-head. They're both 9-2. You should point to head-and-head. Miami's better, yada, yada, yada. This, that, and third. They played the football game. Miami won. I get it, bozo. Calm down. But what you need to understand and realize is head-to-head only comes into effect. It only matters if all those guys in the committee room think Notre Dame and Miami are 1A, 1B. It's super close. Like, I don't know who to go with. So you default to, okay, head-to-head matchup, Miami won, we're going to put them in. I can't harp on this enough. You only get to that point if it's close. The committee obviously doesn't think it's that close. It's so simple to understand. And not only do I understand their logic and reasoning for having Notre Dame ahead of Miami, I, Matt B. Great, also agree with it. I know Miami fans aren't going to like to hear that, and I understand your gripe. You beat Notre Dame. However, Notre Dame looks like a way better football team than you currently. Miami has two, what I'm going to label as, not so great losses. Granted, Notre Dame hasn't played much of anybody. It's been a cupcake of a schedule, but they have been annihilating everybody. Miami also hasn't been playing the toughest schedule I've ever seen, and they've been struggling in a lot of games. And here's the big predicament for Miami. You really haven't gotten better, and some could argue and say you've gotten worse since about week 4, week 5. Notre Dame's only gotten better and better and better every single week. Here's the last thing I'll say, and we'll move on from that. If we were doing standings, then yes, we should have Miami ranked ahead of Notre Dame. But these are not standings. These are rankings. Big difference. For example, the NFL, they have standings. They don't have a committee. Nobody's ranking these teams. It's just standings. In that case and scenario, Miami would be ahead of Notre Dame, or at least tied with them for that sake. But we don't do that in college football. We have, I think they had one guy drop, so now 12 guys in a conference room going, okay, who do we think's better? They don't care about record. They don't care about anything. It's resume and eye test. It doesn't matter. I mean, hypothetically speaking, it's not going to happen. But if they thought an 8-4 team was better than an 11-1 team, they could put them in. There's no requirements for anything. There's no like, oh, you're out of the playoffs if you have X amount of losses. No, it's none of that. But what's driving a lot of people insane is you got the committee up here cracking jokes in what's supposed to be a serious matter. Last thing I'm going to say, and we'll end off the video, you better buckle up, because I honestly feel like chaos is going to ensue this weekend. There's going to be 2 or 3 teams pissed off they don't make this playoff. Should be interesting, to say the least. You know we're going to cover it. Let me know your thoughts down below. But